Hey everyone, how are you? I wanted to come live again, and I want to talk about copyright law. It seems like YouTube and Facebook, they want to tell you about copyright law, what you cannot do and you can do. And so many people really get this area of law confused. And while the authors have the exclusive right to reproduce the copyright, prepare the derivation. Okay, this is a law book, and most attorneys, when they're in law school, they learn from the Emanual law outlines. They're really good outlines, giving you the big picture. And this is what they learn from in law school. Okay, you could buy it too. Go anywhere and you could buy these books. They're free to you. But it says authors Copyright Act of 106 sets forth the exclusive economic right conferred by copyright. So I cannot reproduce something and make money on anything. So if I'm here and I'm making money off of your work, that's not good. But there are exceptions to this right. So like distributing copies of phonocords or of copyright work, they have the exclusive right to distribute. They have an exclusive right to publicly perform the work. They have the exclusive right to publicly display the work. In the case of sound recordings, to perform the copyright work publicly by means of digital audio transmission. Now, if you're on TV and you're listening to music and music is running in the background, that's not part of your work. So you can listen to music in the background and not get in trouble. Where you're going to get in trouble is, okay, like we have karaoke on YouTube. Karaoke is the reproduction of these works so that another person, can sing it. So you can give credit to the person, so that whoever has the karaoke has the rights to put it on YouTube. The author has given the right to the karaoke channel. But you, the person, can sing the work so long as you're not making money off of that work. Like if it's for fun, you're not making money. You can sing it for fun. That's why we have bars. And you go to bars and the bars are making money off of you coming to them to sing karaoke. It's the same thing on YouTube. Same thing, same concept. So I wanted to talk about this copyright laws, but from the perspective of the book, because I am not a lawyer and I'm not going to get in trouble. So if you have any question, please talk to a lawyer. I am just going to give you what the book says, okay? And this book is what law students learn from. So I am not saying anything that is not off or whatever. It's in this book. So you can, Margaret Barrett, you can go to her and say, hey, is that true? Did you write this correctly? Okay? This is what law students learn from. Okay? So, let me, because there is an exception, so I want to go straight to the exception. The exclusive right to display the copyright written work. Exceptions to the exclusive right to public display. Owners of lawful made copies. Copyright Act, Section 109C, provides an important exception to the copyright owner's exclusive right of public display. It authorizes the owner of a lawfully made copy of the work or her designee to display that copy publicly, either one, directly, or two, by the projection of no more than one image at a time. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, it authorizes the owner of a lawfully made copy of the work or her designee to display that copy publicly, either directly or by the projection of no more than one image at a time to viewers present at the place where the copy is located. So, if you're on YouTube and you're listening to karaoke and you're singing, you can give credit to the karaoke channel while you're singing. See what I'm saying? So as long as you give the karaoke credit, you're okay because they have the copy of the author and they're allowed to copy that karaoke. And that's my interpretation. I'm a paralegal. And if you don't get it, if you want any questions, please talk to a lawyer. You could ask them. But this is what I understand from it when I read it. Okay, so thus the copy owner may display her copy by hanging it in a gallery or a museum. The copyright owner can display her copy in a karaoke at the bar for the bar attendees to listen to the karaoke and sing along at the karaoke. Okay, the bar owner has the rights to the karaoke. Okay, just the same. If I'm having a music, the copy of in the background while I'm like studying or working or doing a YouTube, I am perfectly okay to do that so long as I don't make money off of that copy. Okay, it's like part of my workday. However, if the display is by projection, there may only be one projection, and the projection may only be made to viewers present in the same location at the copy. So if you're present at my location, like this channel, it could only be made present at this channel. I don't know what that means. I do know what it means. It means that if you're present at the bar, for example, the copy has to be at that location. And they're allowed to have karaoke at the bar. And you can sing karaoke at the bar while you're there enjoying your drinks. So these limitations are meant to protect the copyright owner's market. A projection of multiple images, for example, an individual computer viewer screen in a large lecture room or to the number of different sites or over the internet could seriously undercut the copyright owner's opportunity to sell additional copies. So if I were having in the background, I could have like a radio in the background, and the radio owns that copyright, and it's for the listeners wherever you are to listen to it. Kind of like in YouTube, but if I have it in the background, I mean, you're not necessarily violating the copyright law. You know what I'm saying? By just having music in the background. That's not a violation. And YouTube can comment and tell me their perspective on it. I would love to hear YouTube comment on my videos and let me know about this copyright law. Because I'm almost certain that YouTube doesn't understand copyright law either. There's another exception, the exception of exclusive right of public performance and display transformation received on home style receivers. So Copyright Act of 110, Section 5 permits many businesses to play radio or television transmissions during the business day. So if I'm playing in the background during my business day and I'm here giving you a YouTube chat on this topic, I can, because it's my business day, just have it in the background. It is an exception for the entertainment of customers and employee. So if I have music in the background so that you can listen to me, it's for your entertainment to engage you so that you listen to me in my channel. Do you see what I'm saying? That's an exception. I can have music in the background. That's not a violation of copyright law. It is during my business day, and it is during this channel, and I can have music in the background. Talk to a lawyer. I could be wrong. I'm only a paralegal. I am not licensed. I almost don't want to be licensed. I learned law the way Abe Lincoln learned law. I consider myself Abe Lincoln's sister. You know, we learned law the same. I just can't. He practiced law and I didn't. Anyways, so more specifically, Section 110(5), known as the home style receiver exception, provides that performance or displays of copywritten work by transmission in a place open to the public. This YouTube is public, or where the public display of copyrighted work by transmission in a place open to the public, or where the public is gathered. You're gathered here on my channel on a single receiver apparatus of a kind commonly used in private homes. This is my private home. Is not an infringement of copyright unless a direct charge is made to see or hear the transmission. So that right there. So if I have it in the background and it's like in my home or whatever, it's not an infringement of copyright unless a direct charge is made. So if I charge you for watching my video while I have music in the background, maybe. However, there's an exception where if you're in a place of business and you have music in the background for the enjoyment of your customers, that is an exception, and it's not an infringement of copyright law, because you are coming to here and I have it in the background for your enjoyment while you're listening to me. Okay? And watching me. It's not an infringement of a copyright law. There's another exception, a broader exception for public performance and display of non-dramatic musical work. In 1998, Congress expanded the Section 110(5) exemption to provide businesses greater freedom to perform non-dramatic musical works by public reception of radio and television transmission. This is a television transmission to the general public. Under the amendment, stores that are smaller than 2,000 square feet, and restaurants and bars that are smaller than 3,750 square feet may play radio and television broadcasts and cable and satellite transmission of non-dramatic musical works, regardless of the type of receiver or number of speakers they use. Stores that are larger than 2,000 square feet and restaurants and bars that are larger than 3,750 square feet are also exempt from liability if they use no more than 6 speakers or 4 televisions with screens smaller than 55 inches. There are further limitations on the placement of the speakers and television. However, businesses falling under this exception may not make a direct charge to see or hear the transmission. I cannot make a direct... So if I have music in the background, I cannot make a direct charge for you to listen to my channel. So this is totally free. And I have it in the background. So if I have it in the background, let's say I want to dance for you, and I have it in the background, and it's in my home, and this is my place of business. You can watch me. It's for your enjoyment. I cannot dance without music. Hello. That's like totally wrong. And may not further transmit beyond their own establishment. So this right here, I can give credit to, let's say I'm listening to something and I'm dancing to it, I could give credit to the YouTube channel I used for the music. And that would be the same thing as, because they own the license to be able to put the music. But it's free. So as long as it's free and they're not, or they're paying, as long as they're making a contract with the author, they can actually have it on YouTube. Okay, so this amendment frees many businesses of the necessity of obtaining a license from the performing rights societies, which have been assiduous in enforcing the rights of music copyright owners. So the same thing here with YouTube. However, business establishments that assert unsuccessful Section 110(5) exemptions defense without a reasonable basis for doing so may be liable for the musical work copyright owners for enhanced damages. Amendment to 110(5) in violation of U.S. TRIPS obligation. I'm not gonna do that one. I'm gonna do the other exception, which is exception to the exclusive right of public performance and displays, face-to-face nonprofit instruction. Copyright Act 110(1), Section 110(1) provides that performance or display of copyright work by instructors or pupils in the course of face-to-face teaching activities in the classroom or similar place devoted to instruction is not an infringement. So if I'm a teacher and I'm teaching you something and I use a copyright written work, it's not infringement, because especially if it's, and in this climate, this COVID climate where they want us all online, it's not gonna, if you're teaching, I almost think, you should talk to your lawyer on this, that's not gonna be an infringement. Because they were socially distancing us and masking us and locking us down at home. So teachers needed to use other mediums to be face-to-face. So that is not an infringement. This exception applies to all kinds of copyrighted work. However, the educational instruction must be non-profit. So I cannot make money off of the instructional materials. Do you see what I'm saying? By an educational institution in a place normally devoted to instruction. So in this COVID, it kind of puts this exception upside down, because now you gotta be online, and almost all of the world is online now. There are many countries that are still locking down and social distancing and masking, and they're infringing on people's rights to put on vaccines. So that exception is interesting, and I wonder if what the court will say to that. A teacher in a nonprofit educational institution like public schools, that's nonprofit, could have members of his drama class perform scenes from a copyrighted play for the rest of the class in the course of teaching the play or method of interpretation. However, this exception would not permit the class member to then perform the scene for their parents at a PTA meeting, since this would not be in the course of instruction. Got that? Exception to the exclusive right, performance and display, instructional and distance learning transmission. That one is an exception for what we're doing now. Copyright Act, Section 110(2), as recently amended, authorizes transmission of performance and displays of copyrighted material in educational programs directed to students and governmental employees. More specifically, subsection 2 provides that performance of non-dramatic literary or musical works reasonable and limited, quote and unquote, performance of other works and displays of any work by transmission will not infringe if the performance or display is made by or at the direction of an instructor. 2. Is offered as an integral part of the class session and is a regular part of the systemic instructional activities of the governmental body or an accredited nonprofit educational institution. The performance or display must be directly related and of material assistance to the teaching content of the transmission. The copy or phonorecord that is used in the performance or display must be a lawful one. Works produced or marketed primarily for performance or display as part of mediated instructional activities transmitted via digital networks are excluded from Section 110.2 exception. So, me, if I wanted to have a face-off with AOC, wouldn't that be great? And I put it on my YouTube. I don't know. I guess this might exclude me from having the music and dancing off. But if I have sections of the music, and I give credit to the channel that I took it from, I say, look, this is right now I'm listening to this, and it's on Pandora. This is my CD, and I bought it. I'm gonna put it on, and I'm gonna give you a little snippet of it. I think I'm excluded. I'm not infringing on anybody's right, but I can't really tell you about it because I'm not a lawyer. So you gotta go really tell your lawyer. That is a hypothetical that I'm kind of running in my head as I'm giving you the exceptions. Exceptions and compulsory licenses. Wait, what did I already do? Okay, so exceptions to exclusive right and of public performance and display religious service. Copyright 110.3 permits performance of non-dramatic literary or musical works, performance of dramatic musical works of religious nature, such as cantatas and choral services, and displays of any work in the course of religious service at a place of worship. Exception to the exclusive right of public performance and display, electronic video and games. Copyright Act 109E permits owners of lawfully made copies of electronic audio visual games intended for the use in coin-operated equipment to publicly perform and display their copies in the game. The only exception arises when the game contains other works of authorship, like musical compositions whose copyright is owned by someone other than the owner of copyright in games. That might be my CDs. Exceptions and compulsory licenses, secondary transmission. Merely picking up transmitted television or radio signals and retransmitting them constitutes a separate performance and or display of any copyrighted material that is included in the transmission, and if the transmission is to the public, will infringe those copyright materials unless licensed or subject to statutory exception. Okay, well, I'll have to look at that statutory exception. Copyright Act Section 111 and 119 specifically addresses various types of secondary transmission. Among other things, these sections authorize apartment houses, and similar establishments to pick up local television and radio station transmission to the public and relay them to private guests or resident rooms, as long as they make no direct charge for the relay. So as long as you do not make a direct charge for that right, that exception, you will not be infringing upon the author of the copyright. Provide that entities such as AT&T, who merely provide wires, capable, and other means by which others pick up and carry primary transmissions to the public, are exempt from infringement liability as long as they observe specific guidelines. So YouTube is exempt from infringement liability. Exempt government and nonprofit organizations from infringement liability for providing translators or boosters to improve reception of transmission to the public as long as they make no charge for the service apart from assessment necessary to defray their actual costs. So did you get that? You tell me what you got. Okay, provide for compulsory licenses which enable cable systems legally to make secondary transmissions of the primary signals of broadcast stations and specify the royalties the cable system must pay. So YouTube may pay royalties to copyright authors. The last exception. Exceptions to the exclusive right of public performance and display. Compulsory license for non-commercial broadcasting. Copyright Act Section 118 provides for compulsory licenses to enable public broadcasting entities to broadcast performance and displays of published non-dramatic musical work and published pictorial graphics and sculptural works. The statute encourages public stations, this is a public station, and copyright owners to reach voluntary agreements, but specifies a procedure to be followed in determining royalty payments in the absence of negotiated agreements. There is a moral right, and moral right comes from God. So the nature of moral rights, many nations, particularly civil law nations, view a work of authorship as an extension of the author's self or personality, and expressly provides personal rights known as moral rights or droit morals, in addition to economic rights, to protect the author's personal interest in the work. There are two primary moral rights: the right of attribution and the right of integrity. Generally, moral rights are inalienable. They come from God. They don't come from government. And the author retains them even after he assigns his economic rights to another. The Berne Convention, to which the United States adheres, requires that its members protect the moral rights of attribution and integrity. See infra. Infra means down in Latin. Page 204 through 205. Prior to its adherence to the Berne Convention, the United States did not expressly recognize moral rights as a part of copyright protection. Authors wishing to vindicate rights of attribution or integrity looked to other areas of law, including the Lanham Act and common law contracts, torts, and unfair competition doctrines for assistance. In 1990, Congress enacted the Visual Arts Rights Act, which amended the Copyright Act expressly to provide moral rights in a very narrow category of subject matter, which will be described below. So this section talks about the subject matter categories in Visual Arts Rights Act. The Visual Rights Act is very limited in scope, providing moral rights only in work of visual arts. So let's say I'm doing a visual art. I am actually an author of my video. So a very narrow category of work of authorship. Moreover, it applies only to those works of visual art created on or after the effective date of the act, or to what the author retained title at the effective date of June 1st, 1991. That's a pretty excluded works of this act are Section 101 specifies that the following items do not disqualify the work of visual arts: posters, maps, globes, charts, technical drawings, diagrams, models, applied arts, motion pictures, or other audiovisual works, books, magazines, newspapers, periodicals, merchandising items, and advertising, promotional, descriptive, and packaging material are also excluded from this work of visual arts. Thus, protection extends to unique and near unique objects of fine art rather than the objects of utility or mass production. In addition, the definition of the protected category expressly excludes all works made for hire and all works that are not subject to copyright protection. It's really interesting. I'm not going to read it, but I'm going to go to 2. Look, there's even a quiz in this book. I might read the whole entire book and then quiz myself and see if I understand it. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? How you can learn just about anything you want. You don't need school. You don't need to go to college to learn things. Just pick up books and read them. Run them in your head. Books. I'm telling you, it's the only way to learn. You're not going to learn by being spoon-fed things, because that's somebody else. The teacher who spoon-feeds, that's their interpretation. That doesn't mean that their interpretation is correct. Use your own brain. Use your own thinking. Don't go by emotions. When somebody tells you and criticizes you and says I don't believe that you have the experience or whatever, it's not for you to take it in emotionally. It's for you to think about it. Am I missing? Am I unbiased? Whatever. I just had to deal with somebody. All these emotional issues making everybody like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. It's like really sickening. This whole climate that the progressives and the Democrats are putting forward is sickening. Really, it is. You can't think. Facts don't care about emotions, just like Ben Shapiro says. Facts don't care about emotions. If it's a fact, it's a fact. Take it and say, is this fact true? Is it true? Okay? And if it is true, then how can you make it better? How can you learn from that fact? Don't take it and say, oh, you hurt my feelings. Come on, man. Now, if somebody is like saying, I hate you, or you're an idiot, now that is not a fact. That is a subjective opinion. And that is hurtful. But if somebody says to you, you don't have the experience. AOC has no experience. And her knowledge is like this small in comparison to her experience. And the wisdom is not even there. She has no wisdom. None. She's trying to criticize Marjorie Greene, who has wisdom and knowledge and experience as a mother, and trying to put her down because she wanted to debate her. And she was holding her to the fire. Marjorie Greene, there's nothing wrong with Marjorie Greene. Marjorie Greene is a very smart and intelligent woman who knows her rights and who stands up for her rights and who tries to hold her constituents accountable. So AOC pretty much said, to her, look, I'm not going to debate you because I think you are smarter than I am. And I am afraid of losing to you. Because all AOC has is celebrityhood. That's all. She's good on camera. She's likable. She is relatable. But that's it. She has fuzzy math. Thank you very much. Until next time, this is all I'm going to say. It's going over 30 minutes, and I don't want to go over 30 minutes. I could talk forever. But anyways, like and subscribe and share with your fellow YouTubers. Let them know that we have this right here is what all law students learn from when they're in law school. And this copyright law, this intellectual property law, it's really a second or third year class at a law school. It's not part of the main first year courses. So all the first year courses are prerequisite for all law students because those first year courses, if they know them well, then those first year courses interrelate with the second and third year courses. Those are the basics, and if they don't know the basics and they can't explain contract and they can't go back and learn it and defend you on it, then they're not very good lawyers. Those first year courses are what you should be looking at a lawyer when you're hiring them and saying, well, how good were you in property law? How good were you in, because property law goes with international intellectual property. It's property. Contract law is embedded in here too. Constitutional law is embedded in here too. Moral law is constitutional law. What else? A tort law is in here too. So if a lawyer doesn't know his first year courses like the back of his hand, he's not going to be good at any area of law. You know what I'm saying? So, just to let you know, share and subscribe. And if you have kids, please go to k4699.myubam.com and buy them some books and inspire them to be readers and learners and thinkers. Thank you very much and have a great day.